Welcome to 2025. I feel so much joy and excitement this year. This year feels so different compared to years past. I think part of it is because my family is going to be welcoming another baby into the mix, and we do have some exciting new adventures coming. But I also feel like I'm really finding myself in this new phase of life. Do I have a handle on it? Not all the time, but I am really excited for what's to come. I am also really looking forward to continuing to share amazing stories from awesome women. I continue to be blown away and just in awe of so many women that I come across. This year, my goal is to continue to expand the Grow Wild community to share all different types of stories so we can all feel support and grow in the phase of life that we are in. With that, I am so excited to introduce my first guest of the year, Tayler. Tayler and I first met when we moved to California. We instantly had a connection because we both played collegiate volleyball. Tayler is such a kind hearted and amazing woman. She and her husband welcomed their son Ace into the world about a year and a half ago. Tayler was amazing in sharing her personal experiences in becoming a mom, starting new chapters, sharing what love means to her, and how her culture is helping her raise her family. I am so excited for you to be here listening. And here we go for the start of 2025 Grow Wild. Welcome to Grow Wild. I'm your host, Kaylee, and I'm excited to spotlight moms in all phases of life and build community in our own experiences. Let's grow together in this wild journey of motherhood. Hi, Tayler. I am so excited to have you here on the podcast today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Tayler and I met when we first moved, my family first moved to California, and we had an instant connection because we both played collegiate volleyball. Um,
Yes.
and it's just funny because our paths kind of crossed a little bit while she was at BYU and I was at Gonzaga, but we didn't really know it. I'm just grateful. Like, we instantly had that connection, and I'm grateful that she's here. And I am really happy we got at least a couple months to hang out before you moved away.
Yes, I know. I miss you guys.
I know. We had a lot of fun while you guys were here.
For sure.
So I wanted to start off with, since we both have the connection of volleyball starting there, I know for myself that it has been a journey that I'm honestly still figuring out with not being an athlete anymore. But how has the shift for you been from being full-time athlete to now being a mom for you been?
Oh man, it was definitely really hard at first. I got pregnant like 3 months after my collegiate career ended. So it was kind of quick. And I really don't think my mind or my body was truly prepared for the change. But I mean, I was really excited, but looking back, I just didn't realize that my body would never be the same. Honestly, like my life would never be the same, and how different the switch would be. Like with sports, I mean, you just be practicing all day, and then you lift weights, and then you have games, and it's just such a crazy schedule. And so cutting that and then just adding a baby like 3 months after, it was pretty crazy. But I think it did things I learned in playing collegiate volleyball, like the hardships and just going through I went through did help prepare me. Um, but yeah, it was definitely crazy, but the schedule changes was especially crazy. And it's nice because I still incorporate volleyball into my life now. Um, but it's been fun. I think I've just embraced this new phase of my life, and I've really enjoyed it. And I know that like my collegiate career is over. I loved it, enjoyed it, it's done, and now I'm just embracing it.
I love that. I think that that's a perfect answer. And just, there's so many things because I think back to my schedule when I was at Gonzaga, and it's so specific for you. Like, it's all about, like, selfishly, it's all about you. And
Yeah.
mothering is not that.
Yeah, that's so true. I haven't thought about it that way.
Because there was so many days, like, I remember, and my husband laughs at this because I would have like every hour of my day blocked out. I would
Mhm.
know exactly what I was eating.
Well, you kinda have to as a student athlete, because
Mhm.
like, that's how you time manage your time when you have so many things going on. It's like you have to plan.
Yeah, and now he laughs because I think I'm way more disorganized now as a
S
mom than I was when I
Same.
was on my own, and he laughs because I, like, found this old, like, planner I had when I was in college, and he's like, "Who were you?" Like,
That's
I don't
funny.
even know who you were because now I'm like, "Ah," like, spiraling at any moment.
Yeah, for sure. That's hilarious.
An aspect that I'm still working through is embracing, like, my new body in motherhood, and I know you touched on
Mm,
that just previously. And as
yes.
high performing athletes, like, we're in such specific shape, and a good part of our day is spent in a gym, like, working out, working on what we're doing. So how have you shifted your mindset into this new phase of life and embraced your body in a new way? Which, athlete or not, I think a lot of moms will be able to resonate with this because your body's changed so much.
Oh, for sure. And, oh my gosh, I still am working on this and need help with this. And at BYU, I feel like I did struggle a lot with I think in collegiate sports, it's hard not to compare, especially when you're competing for a spot to play or competing against other teams. It's so hard not to compare. And so I've kind of taken that with me into this next phase of life, which sucks. I need to be way better at that. But I do really feel like it's been a battle each day to just be grateful for my body right now where it is. And it's crazy because it's nowhere near like where I was in college. And I just need to accept that that's just where I'm at right now. I'm a mom. I went through so much to be where I'm at, so much to have my son here. And wherever my body is right now, I'm just trying to give it grace and just be grateful for it. But I definitely know that I always want to keep working to be my best self, whatever that looks like.
I love that. I think giving ourselves grace is really hard.
Hmm.
And something like I just remember even before having my son and when I was in college, like you said, comparing, and it's
Yeah.
so I mean, you're kinda told to compare when you're playing a sport because 'cause you're trying to beat out another person or you're
Yeah,
trying to
exactly.
earn your spot, but it's so easy to be like, "Oh, I need to look a certain way," and then for me, it's the same thing. It has totally brought itself into motherhood and being a
Yeah.
mom. So when you figure it out, let me know because
Same.
I am trying to figure it out, and it's just so interesting because, like I said, athlete or not, I think a lot of moms really struggle with just
Yeah.
accepting and, like, welcoming and then being happy for the body that we're in.
Yeah, and one thing that is unique about being have been played college sports is, like, I had so many techniques mentally and physically where I would have to think about, like, how can I be my best high performing self for my sport, and I've kind of shifted that to be like, well, how can I be my best high performing mom? I'm like a high performing mom, and not necessarily having to reach new certain goals, but just at least being present and showing up for my kid.
I love that. I need to think of that because 'cause I've never thought of it that way. That's a really good way to put it because I I had that too where I was always, like, mentally working on those things. Like, that's a really nice way to translate those feelings
Yeah.
over. I love that. So, for myself, I'm not currently coaching or playing, which I am. I'm okay with that right now. And I know from a playing standpoint, I think I still believe I'm, like, in the place that I left out on, which I'm
That's
really
fair.
happy. I'm
I
okay
love
to
that.
think that.
Yeah.
Um, but you're coaching right now. So how has that been as uh, previously an athlete? How has that been now transitioning into coaching from playing?
Yeah, I love this question because I feel like I played volleyball, well, like, at least I started because I enjoyed it so much, and I I mean, it was sometimes you lose it in college because it becomes a job, but I just love the sport. I love that it helped me growing up. I love that it helped me accomplish goals, learn how to work on a team. It just brings me joy, and so to still be around it, it's just one of those things where I can find something that's an outside of like motherhood or just outside of normal life that brings me joy.
I love that. I think finding joy outside of being a mom is like such a huge piece. And I didn't
Mm.
prepare you for this question, but
It's
I just
okay.
was thinking of it because the most recent collegiate team who won, it was the first female ever
Oh
um,
yeah.
to win as a coach.
Yes, as a
And
coach.
how has that impacted you as a female coach now?
Oh, it definitely motivates me. I don't think I'll ever want to coach at that level, but it really is so inspiring to see people do what they love. Like I said, it just stems from like something that you love and just taking off with it and being able to enjoy it. So I don't know, I just really loved watching that, and the fact that she went was going through so much at the same time, I think that was just amazing. Her team was able to rally behind her and just support her.
I know I was thinking the same thing, like how powerful that volleyball, like it was a female sport, their head coach
Mm,
was a female, and they all rallied together as like
yeah,
women and supported each other. And I thought that was
yeah.
really positive because we don't see that sometimes, like
Yes, for
women
sure.
supporting women or women all coming
Mm,
together and the leader, the top dog being that female
yeah,
figure. And I thought it was really powerful and inspiring to definitely be like, okay, I can pursue anything that I want to
yeah.
pursue.
I worked with a lot of amazing coaches, like head coaches who I work under that were just so open. Even my players were so open with me bringing Ace, my son, his name's Ace, with me to practices. And I think there's like like it's gonna shift where it's not gonna be something like bad or like frowned upon when you need to have your kids with you,
I
or
love that.
at least that. But
Well, and it makes sense. Like, well, I think of Ace and you, like, he's going to see you pursuing what you love, and he's going to see
yeah,
that. And then he's going to want to do something like that. And he's going to
for
support
sure. Yeah, I love that.
anyone who's pursuing their goals and dreams.
That's true.
So you're setting it such a great example.
Thank you. I'm trying. Okay.
I know for other coaches that I've heard from, their coaching perspective or style changed when they had kids of their own. Have you noticed a difference in your coaching now that you have a son yourself?
I definitely have. I think I was pondering on this question. I was thinking back on my time at BYU. I don't know if you guys were required to do this, but we had to coach camps all through summer. And I feel like as a college student, I was so impatient. And I was grateful for the time there. I mean, they paid us, but I wasn't anything like after being a mom because after having Ace, I just realized like these people are sending their daughters to us and they're trusting us with their kids. And so I really just changed that perspective. I'm like, I just want to make sure that I'm doing my best because their parents are trusting me to help them not even become a better player, but even a better person. And I think that's really cool that there's this level of trust. And so, yeah, that my mindset has definitely changed since becoming a mom.
I can totally attest to not being my best self during summer camps.
Yeah, it's the worst.
I think that I could go back and be a lot better of a coach in person, even as I obviously Oates like way small right now, so I'm not sending him to camps or anything. But
Yeah,
I would hope
same.
that that they would see him in a little bit how I see him, or I would just
Yeah, for sure.
and I know that I have coached a little bit, but not like a ton since having him. But I
Mm.
know I definitely see the girls as a different it's just different. They're someone's child.
Yeah, and I feel like I didn't really it makes sense. Like when I say it, I'm like, it's obvious they're someone's child. But then when I had my own, I'm like, wow, they are someone's child. I need to take more care into this.
Yeah, and that's what I think is so special about having I'm sure males feel that way too, but I think that's something special
Yeah,
as moms, like, we have this such an intimate bond with our child and recognizing that and then being able to share that with other kids that
yeah.
we're coaching, I don't know, I don't know, it's super special where I'm like, "Oh, that someone is trusting me and I wanna make sure I can be the best for them."
Yeah, and I always think like if Ace was in this position, is this how I would want him to be treated or coached?
Yeah, that's a great perspective, and I think a great way as a coach to, like, really like, that's a really good reminder. So, kind of talking about now that coaching, like, that's become a passion of yours as well.
Mhm.
Um, as every mother, I think everyone goes through, like, this new discovery phase where you're like, "Okay, who am I? I
Mm.
may not have the same things that I had before," and, like, obviously playing our sport was a big one for us. But what have you noticed about yourself that's changed since having Ace and finding new passions since becoming a mom?
Yeah, I think it was a huge shift for me because volleyball took so much of your time, and I played it since I was, like, 8 years old, and so now not having that, it has been kind of fun figuring out what other things I like. And it's so funny, because we were living there in California with you, you taught me how to do sourdough, but I never really attempted it after that. I made some bagels, but I never really attempted bread, and after I gave birth to Ace, I was like, "I'm gonna do it." And so I bought all this stuff and I made some, and it's been so fun. So I've been enjoying doing that. I don't know if it's just like the idea of like, "Oh, I'm a mom. I want to be like this." Um, I don't know, but it was fun. I really enjoyed doing that and making meals and figuring out what nutrition he needs. And then also I love reading. I've been a book club, so I've really enjoyed going to book club on the weekends, like once a month. That's been super fun for me. But yeah, it's been nice. I think it's super important to find something that makes you happy outside of being a mom. And because when we're our best selves, then we can give ourselves. I guess that doesn't really make sense. When we're our best selves for without it, then we can give our energy to them when we're with them.
No, I love that. I love that you're still making sourdough, that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
not super great at it, but
no, I'm still learning too. Um, but I think that's so important, like you said, when we can take time for ourselves, we can come back and be so much better. I seriously said that the other day. I was out doing something but I went by myself, and then when I came back, I was like
mm,
it was right before bedtime, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, I feel, like, rejuvenated." Like,
yeah, it, like, re-energizes you.
I was like, "I can be so present, I can be so just like, I'm here, I'm ready to, like, give everything I have to the bedtime routine." And
Yeah.
it makes such a difference, and I think just finding things that like, I genuinely really enjoy, like, reading. I never read in college, and I never really
Same.
read before, but I'm reading now, and I'm like, "Wow, it's
Yeah.
nice to, like, have this time and space for
Mm,
myself."
yeah, and I feel like I recognize that it's kind of a privilege. I know some moms aren't as lucky to be able to spend as much time away from their kids, whether they be a single mom or whatever their situation is. So I'm grateful that I can do that, and I have my husband and family here to help me be able to do that.
No, that's so true. I'm really glad that you, said that because I feel the same way, like, I am really blessed for, like, my family situation, just that I have a husband that's, like, really present and wants to make sure I have that
Mm,
time because I think he notices as well. I can come back and be, like, really refreshed, and I have that space to do my own thing and then be able to
yeah.
come back in and be like, "Okay, I'm ready for this."
Yeah, I totally feel the same way.
Something that you shared with me that I thought was really touching, and I'm really grateful that you, shared it with me was the aspect of love.
Mm,
Um, and I think every mom can relate to just the feeling of love after you have a child totally changes, but you and your husband have been married for 5 years. But you shared with me that you really wanted your children to know and see the love that you share with your husband. And I was wondering if you'd be able to share a little bit on that and why that was so important to you.
yeah, I so my parents divorced my when I moved out of the house for my first year of college. And, growing up, I really never knew my parents were loved each other. They never kissed in front of us. There was never like an exchange of like, "Oh, I love you." So that was kind of hard, and I didn't really have that example. And I really believe, not that I know I've experienced something other than what I grew up with, But I just really believe that, um, like, it will elevate the family life when it starts with, between you and your husband and your marriage, and I think if you're solid there and you can grow your love and share and show your love to your kids, and I just really do believe it can elevate your family life, and because I didn't experience that, I just really wanna make sure my kids understand and experience that.
That is so beautiful, and I love that you are that's such a, like, expectation from the beginning because Ace is still so
Mm,
little,
yeah,
but I love that you're really wanting to make that, like, a priority in your home. I think that's really beautiful.
thank you.
How do you prioritize, like, your marriage now that you have
Mm.
Ace?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we've set a goal. We try to do a date night once a week, and whether it can be really simple, I don't like it can whether that's just going to dinner or maybe just watching a movie in the living room after he goes to bed, but just making time for each other really helps. And then another thing we're trying this year is just before bed when Ace is already asleep, trying to not be on our phones and just making sure we're asking about each other's days and just ending the day together in conversation as opposed to just laying there together on our phones. And I've seen a big change in that. And I just think those little things are important. It doesn't necessarily have to be like something huge, but just making time for each other out of the week.
Those are really good pieces of advice. They're so simple, but
Mhm.
anyone can do that. I really like that. That's great. So you and your mother have a really great relationship, and you've shared a little bit about how she has impacted you and how your relationship has been. Do you think it changed even more when you had your own son?
Totally. Yeah. My mom is like my ride or die. I love her so much. And I'm so grateful for her and just like her example in general. And I feel like I mean, we always have this sense of gratitude for our moms. Like, we've always been really grateful. Like, I've always had a good relationship with her all my life, but it definitely has grown so much deeper after becoming a mom. And it's crazy how, like, my thought process changed about the level of like, the depth of my gratitude after becoming a mom. We talked a little bit about how, like, at Christmas, I was just thinking about this, and I feel like I'm still thinking about this, but every Christmas, my mom made it's so special, and, we were not that well off, we weren't wealthy growing up, but it felt like I was, and she made it so special, and I was exhausted this Christmas, and Ace is only 1. And I'm like, I only have 1 child, he's 1 years old. I was like, "I don't know how she did it." I truly just made me see her in a new light, and I think I did not understand it fully until I became a mom.
No, that's so true. I there's so many things where I'm like, "Whoa, you did this for me." And same thing, like I have
Mm,
a really good relationship with my mom too, but it's so different. Like I was even just thinking about when I was in high school and how many times I like forgot my lunch.
yeah.
And now I'm like, "Oh my goodness, the list is never ending." And she was always
Mm,
serving, like
yeah.
always serving someone else versus like worrying about herself.
Yeah, and, my mom, because we weren't, like, super wealthy, she held, like, almost 3 jobs at one point to help get us all through our sports, and I traveling club for volleyball was so expensive here in America. I don't know about in for Canada, but and it was really what you had to do to get recruited to go to college. And she really just sacrificed so much for me to be able to do that and to reach my dreams. And just understanding that sacrifice is just so humbling for me.
It really is amazing when like I think about so many moms out there that are just they would do anything for their children, and I
Mm.
remember people telling me that before I had my son, and I was like, "Man, like, that's just it's so crazy." And now having him, I'm like, I would do anything for him
Yeah.
now too, and I was so nervous, and this sounds kinda silly, but I was really nervous before I had him. It's like, "What if I don't love him?" Like, everyone says I'm gonna love him because everyone always was
Yeah.
like, "You're gonna
It's
have
such
this new love, and it's gonna be so
mm.
amazing and so beautiful." And I seriously started stressing out. I was like, "But what if it's not like how you're saying it?"
Yeah, no, that's real, yeah.
Um, But then it honestly, it took, like, as soon as he was born, and then you learn to love that chunky little face and their little,
Mhm.
like, blob of a body in the first, like, couple months, and then you're
It's
like,
so
"Wow,
funny.
I seriously would do anything
Yeah,
for this little human," and it's so powerful, I think, just like a mother's love, what they are willing to do for their
yeah.
children.
And, like, what you just explained, thinking about how, like, how much love I have, like, capacity of love I have for my son, thinking that someone has that for me is just so comforting.
I know, it has totally shifted, like, I remember sometimes this is also really dumb of me, but I remember my younger siblings doing something, and I'd be like, "Mom, Dad, like, you should really lay into them for that," or like, "That
Yeah,
was pretty wild, like, I cannot believe that they just did that."
yeah.
And now I get it. I'm like, because they go about, my parents, I think, do a really good job at going about things, like, with grace and with patience, where
Mm.
sometimes I feel like I'm a bulldozer just, like, coming in, but now having my own child, I'm like, "Oh, I get that relationship." Obviously, I don't get what, like, they're going through, but I understand, like, it's such a tender spot of, like, you're navigating your child's relationship while also, like, just showing them unconditional love, because you do, like, at the end of the day, you would do anything for them.
Yeah, that's so true.
It's
Good
just
perspective.
it's crazy. It's a whole new perspective now being a mom. Another thing I wanted to talk about, and I think this is so unique and, just so cool, is your son Ace is 3/4 Tongan, with you
Mm,
being half,
mhm.
and your husband is full Tongan. And you have shared with me that that's been an exciting journey as well, and, like, a learning opportunity too, from navigating culture to building relationships with family.
Yeah.
How has that been, getting to pass those traditions and culture to Ace?
Oh, it's been so fun. I've always appreciated my culture so much, and a lot of my strength came from navigating the 2 different worlds growing up. You know, my mom's from a farming family in Idaho, and my dad is from the island of Tonga, and he's an immigrant from when he was little. And so I just feel like I appreciated the lessons I learned from navigating those 2 worlds. And so I want Ace to be able to experience that, to grow from that, and to know what that means, and to know where he comes from. And so I've just loved being able to incorporate that into his life. And I feel like because I'm half, I don't know as much of my Tongan culture, or like as much as I would want to. And so having my mother-in-law and my husband's family, like, being able to step in and teach me in ways that I didn't know growing up, or learning things about the culture, has been really special. And then also just like having such a great relationship with them, so and them knowing, like, where my boundaries are. So, like, certain things where I don't want to be a part, they're like totally accepting. So that's just what's funny. There's like so many different things about the Tongan culture where it's great, but then there's some things you're just like, probably not that. But it's been so fun. And my son, he has 3 names. So his full name is Ace Tomasi Tausinga Hifo. And so I feel like the biggest reason I named him those things, so Tomasi is from my husband's side. His little brother is named, that's his name, and so we named after him. And then Tausinga is my maiden name, and it's kind of named after my only brother. And then Ace is just his own name. So I really want him to incorporate both sides of his family, to learn from them, to understand his ancestors, and to learn from them, who he's named after especially. But then also he has his own name to create his own legacy, to build who he wants to be, and not just maybe who his family or his ancestors want to be, but he can become his own person and create his own legacy.
I love that. And that's such a beautiful story. And it is so cool that he has that, like, family history part of his name, but then, and great examples with that. And then he has his own, that he gets to decide and take in all that culture and things that you're
Yeah.
teaching him to become his own amazing person.
Yeah. And my middle name is Taylor actually. So my first name is Ciale, and I'm named after my grandma, and then my mom just loved the name Taylor, so she named, and so I kind of got it from myself because I've loved learning from my grandmother, and understanding who she was, and She was Tongan and she loved her culture, and I've just loved trying to embrace who she was into my life. But then I'm like, I'm also Taylor. This I've built who I am just being Taylor and who I want to be. So I kind of did that with my son.
No, I think that's so cool and just such a unique um perspective that you have and a unique thing that is for you. And I love the tie-in of like family names and making sure that like that
Yeah.
those are carried on. I think that's
And
really
that's
beautiful.
huge in the Tonga culture. Like they're very big on like I don't know if you know any like Tongans, but there's usually probably like five of a certain name in a family because they love naming people after certain people in their ancestral line. So it's big. They really like lean into the learning from your ancestors.
That's amazing. And there's just so much that we can learn from our
Mhm.
ancestors
Yeah.
and grow from them. And I like my middle name is Jean, and that's been a family thing for I don't even know how long, but like the first daughter in the family has the middle name Jean.
Oh, that's cool.
So I'm pretty it comes from my grandma, but it feels cool to be like I'm a part of like
Yeah.
I don't want to say club because that sounds really like exclusive, but it's fun to be
Hey, that
like
kind of is exclusive. That's very fun.
it's fun to just have that like name that's a part of me, but it's a part of my extended family as well. Like
Yeah.
we're all connected.
Yeah, and I feel like being named after my grandmother helps me think like I want to live a way that honors her. So that's also kind of why I was inspired to name my son after those people.
That's beautiful. And I love how you have touched on a little bit with learning culture and new traditions, um, your mother and your mother in law with that. And I think that that's beautiful that you've been able to like merge the two. How has that
Mm.
been like being able to bring both sides together and both like mother and mother in law in that process?
It's been so fun. I think I learn like I have such a close relationship with my mom, but my mother-in-law, since I haven't known her as long as her, obviously, it's been fun learning from her and seeing how she mothers because they mother totally different. And so just taking different things from both of them has been fun. And I think that's the unique thing about being a family is like you can learn so much from both your mom and your mother-in-law about what being a mother means. And and they could look completely different, but they just teach. I think the biggest thing is that they're the way they love, and I love learning that from them.
That's amazing. And it is so true. Like, it's so funny because sometimes I forget my husband and I weren't raised the same way. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I think, "Oh, this is such a family thing. Why don't you get that?" Or,
Oh my
"Oh,
gosh, that's so true.
I thought we were on the same page." But then I have to remember like, "Oh, we grew up in very different households
Mhm.
and we're merging now as parents to be like, "Oh, we did this in our house or we did this and I really liked that or I really don't want to be like that."
Yes.
It's such a mix and like cool thing of figuring out as well
Yeah.
we can love each other so much and we came from such different places.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a really good way to put it.
Another question I had for you is since Ace is still so little, but what's been one of your favorite things culturally that you've been able to teach him so far?
Well, that's a good question. You know, the Polynesians in general, but Tongans are funny because a big thing for them is an uma, and it's kind of like a kiss, and it's so funny because Tongans just made the word up literally from the sound, like "ma," and it's just a uma, like just a kiss, and they like more of the older generation understand it. So when we say uma, he goes in for a kiss, and it's kind of I when he was a baby, I was like, "No one's touching my child, like, we're not kissing him." But as he's gotten older, it's been fun teaching him that, and so, like, when he sees my husband's grandma or my mother-in-law, like, he knows what they're doing, and it's really cute because he can say "uma" and he knows what it means.
That's so fun. And it's so cute how they pick up on things like
Mhm.
so fast. Like I'm
Yeah,
always shocked.
yes, it's very fun to watch, like, it's so fun.
Oh, and he's just adorable too. So that makes it
Thank you.
even more fun. I have just loved talking to you, and I feel like I could talk to you forever and we could just
I know, it's so
ramble on about so much. But my final question for you is in this wild journey of motherhood, how have you grown as a woman?
Oh man, I feel like I've grown so much. Like it's only been a year and I just feel like a completely different person. And I was thinking about the word wild and like the name of your podcast. And I think it is just such a good word to describe motherhood. Um, because I personally, I mean, I love the wild. I love going camping, spending time outdoors. I feel like it really grounds me, helps me reset, and reminds me it really matters. And it's just, I enjoy it. It's fun. And then on the other hand, it's also like, it's unknown and it's really scary. And it's hard, like, you have to really work for like, it's not as easy as just being at home and going to the restroom and cooking in the kitchen. Like, it takes a lot of work to be in the wild, and so I think I've learned with motherhood that you really can't have one without the other. Like, you can't have everything so good and perfect without experiencing, like, the hard and the unknown, and I just have loved that. You know, my mom one of my mom's favorite movies is A League of Their Own. I don't know if you've seen it, but she always quoted this to us growing up, and it's when one of their best players is struggling, and she's like, "I just want to go home. It's too hard. I can't do it." And the coach is like, "You know, the hard is what makes it great. If it wasn't hard, everyone would be doing it." And so I've always loved that. Like, I truly believe that what makes motherhood so great is just the hard, and getting through that and just knowing that you're going to be rewarded. And I've just loved every second. So learning how to balance those things has just made me become so much better.
That is so beautiful, and I love that you resonate with the wild because that was a big piece for me, and it is a big piece for me. Like, motherhood is really wild, and it is just
Hmm.
such a journey, but I love that you compared that. Like, being out in the wild is hard, but the joy that you get while you're there is so
Yeah,
great.
it's true.
So, I thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was so fun. I love chatting with you.
I want to thank Taylor again for taking the time to be on Grow Wild. It is always fun to catch up with old friends and to hear how other women are transitioning into this new phase of life of motherhood. Once again, thank you to all those who are listening and follow along. It is going to be a great year, and I can't wait to grow wild with all of you. See you next time.